I think that we can pass all the laws in the world, and obviously it hasn't done a whole lot of good. It's really speaks to our inner reality and our personal actions that stem from that inner reality, to be involved, to know people, to socialize with people, to have genuine friendships with people different than whoever you are. If I'm Indian, it means I have to break out of this comfortable cocoon of friendships with Indian people and make friends with all kinds of other people.
What does that have to do with religion? I mean, I can make friends with people.
Well, it has to do with the motivation and the willingness to sustain it, I think. It can get very difficult, and really I think that there's a spiritual impulse in all of us, and then I think that when it runs up against test, and what makes you decide to go through that test is a spiritual conviction. You know, I find that all the time in my life as an Indian woman.
You must have a tremendous sense of injustice and outrage in you.
Oh.
In South America, they're macheteing up people to get back the gold that they mistakenly had given. I mean, they gave some land rights, and then they discover gold, and so they go in and chop up people.
You're right, I do. I do have a tremendous amount of rage. But I'm also very optimistic. And I feel that I'm perfectly convinced, I have every ounce of certitude in my being, that we are at the end of a night, and a dawn or a spiritual springtime is dawning, and that we need the message. We need this parliament of world religions. But as a Baha'i, I feel personally that Baha'u'llah's teachings can lead us through this night, this mire that we're in right now, and especially for Indian people. As I said, I feel it's our future, because it tells us where we stand. The Baha'u'llah's teachings really tell Indian people where they stand in the world. They give an identity that no other people who've come to us have ever really given. Everybody wants to come and change us into something else.
And this isn't changing you into something else?
Out of my choice. It's not trying to make me come, because one of the teachings of Baha'u'llah is this protection, this preservation of cultures. Because, you know, the flower garden of humanity needs to be that flower garden, and if it were all one flower, or one kind of flower, it wouldn't be beautiful. You can't have unity in uniformity. You know, the two words are close, but they conflict with one another, really. You have to have diversity in order to have unity, and unity is the fundamental teaching of Baha'u'llah. And so this anger that I feel, you know, this changes from being just pure anger, and I need to transmute it into something that works, so that I take that anger and use it sometimes as an energy, but not as an energy of hatred, but rather as motivation to get beyond something. And I think that's probably true of most religions, but this is a very fresh, new impulse. I can read the words. It's not just told to me by someone else. You know, one of the things about Baha'u'llah's teachings is the independent investigation of truth.
What do you say to somebody whose mother, father, child was one of the people chopped up, dispensed with? Dispensable people. They're in our way.
I'm not sure I understand your question. What do I say?
How can you say?
What I would say...
Forgive or move on.
No, I wouldn't say forgive and move on. You know, I would talk about justice, that we need to have justice. I would offer sympathy and help. But we, you know, another thing is that, you know, Baha'u'llah said, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom. And so we need to work toward that justice. But how then can we begin to make that, not begin, but how can we take giant steps in our lives that make the difference, so that there justice can be?
Indeed, how can we?
Well, those steps are taken on a daily basis in getting involved and being involved in changing. In, well, how do I want to say this? There's so much to say. I'm trying to say it very quickly. For example, if you look at justice, you can't get from, you know, immediately from here to the end results of justice. But if you think what's going to happen to our systems when women are in places of power equally with men, what's going to happen when people really understand and about the differences of races, and the races are going to be represented in places of influence.
Do you really think there would be less war if women were more in power?
Absolutely. It's the only way there's going to be less war. It isn't if there would be less war. It's the only way there will be
You're
an end
sure
to
of
war.
that?
I'm positive of it, yes.
What makes you think so?
Well, on a very practical level, what woman would raise her children to send them off to war, her sons to send them off to be slaughtered for a reason they don't and she doesn't
Can't
understand?
imagine it.
That's the most practical. I wouldn't do it.
You have children?
I have 2 grown sons. I think that everybody is hungry for something spiritual, and I think there's an attraction to a people that they see, even though they don't understand it, really are still know the reality, that our reality as human beings is only a mirror of a spiritual reality. And that's something Indian people throughout the hemisphere know, really, is that this this world, this earth, is just a mirror of a reality that's of the spirit.
Even
So-
the pain?
Even the pain is really a spiritual pain. You know, for example, hell is really separation, isn't it? I mean, when you think about what is hell, it's not I mean, I was told once that it was a place where you burned and forever and ever, and you felt that pain. But now I understand, if there is a hell, it's when you know that the pain of separation. So even pain is I think just a reflection of a spiritual growth test in growing, or of understanding that perhaps you've done something to offend and that separates you from the next human being. And of course you can repair that and come out of that